Hello everyone, welcome back. So now let's discuss about the architecture of this project. So this is our ETL workflow, right? So starting with we have a sales data, so which we'll be uploading to a S3 bucket. So then we'll create an EMR cluster. So with the Hadoop and Hive, right? So components. So this will be my extract part. Okay, I'll be extracting the data from the source, right? So I'll be creating, so how the extraction will be done, so with help of the Hive external query. So what I'll do, I'll be creating an external query so that it will point to the S3 bucket. Okay, and so automatically the data I can just check the data from the Hive itself, right? So next is like after adding the data, right? So after pointing to this S3 bucket, right? So then we'll create some transformation job. Okay, so based on the requirement. So first we need to check what the sales data contains, what are different columns we have, and we'll do some of the transformation on the data. So we'll perform some transformations which will automatically trigger the MapReduce job. Then after the transformation, of course, we need to load it into some new table. So which so will be the destination will be our Hive itself, like which acts as a warehouse in this project. So here, so we'll be dumping that processed data, that is a clean data, or else you can just say final data into the Hive, right? So once we have the final data into the Hive, then finally we'll connect that with the Tableau, right? So we'll be using a Tableau desktop. Before connecting to the Hive, we need to install some of the drivers, which we'll be seeing in upcoming videos. So first we need to install those drivers and connect with the Hive. And after that, we'll be creating multiple charts, okay? Like dual axis charts or like pie charts or based on my requirement, right? So the goal is like I want to present that data to my managers, right? So that I can just give the presentation or whatever the data contains, right? So this is what the entire flow chart flow of my data, right? So now let's start with practical, right? So in the next section. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video, let's explore about the data set, right? So in our project, we'll be using a sales data. So before proceeding, we need to know what are the different columns and what is the data present in my data set. So let me create a folder. So I've already created a folder called sales data copy, right? So this is a comma separated file. So let me open this file and I'll show you what are the different columns we have. So these are the different columns, like we have a region, right? Then we have a country. So region specify, okay. So basically the content like Asia, right? We have a Europe, then we have Australia, then we have a North America, we have a different regions, okay. So then in that region, we have a different countries, right? So like Canada, we have Japan, okay. Can see this column basically represents the country. Next, we have a item type. So if I'm purchasing some item, so it belongs to which category, basically the category type, right? So whether I'm purchasing under the fruits category or clothes or vegetables or snacks, right? So it comes under this item type. Next, we have a sales channel. So sales channel represents whether you're purchasing order offline or online. So if you are ordering some item, so whether you are visiting some store and you're purchasing that, okay, so that represents the offline, and if you're purchasing it online, so it represents the online. So this is what the two categories we have under the sales channel. Next is order priority, whether you want the priority of order, right? So whether it's we have different levels here, okay, so which has M, C, and L, okay. So this is what the different order priority, like medium, high, right? Next we have a order date. So in order date, so when was this item was ordered, right? So here if you observe, we have a slight different format, right? Of course we need to transform it whenever we are loading this data, right, in our ETL pipeline. So this is what our entire pipeline represents, right? First we're extracting this data, then we are transforming. So the transformation step, okay, so that you need to observe, like whenever you're looking the data, okay, so what are the different columns you want to transform it. So here when I'm looking this order date, so here in the order date, so here I have a different format, right? So in the first in this, if I see, like I have this then DD and YYY format, right? Then here I have first what, that is a day, right? That is 11. Then we have a month, 07. Then we have a year. So here you can see the format. It's slightly changed in each cell. Okay, so there's different date formats under the order date. Next we have an order ID. So order ID. So these are the different order IDs. So whenever we are pushing this data into our data warehouse, even we can just partition based on the order ID as well, right? So this we have ship date. So here also in the dates, we have a different format. Then we have a unit sold. For example, if the item type is cosmetics, the number of units sold under this is 8,446. Then we have a unit price, that is the cost of each unit. Then we have a unit cost. Then we have a total revenue under this particular item type, as well as the region and and the country, right? So you can see the entire column how it's basically related. Then we have a total cost, then we have a total profit. So my data set looks good, right? So this is what the approach you need to follow. Okay, so whenever you have some ETL task, okay, before extracting some data, okay, you should know all about the data, about its data type, about its data, right? So from where you're getting it, whether it's live data, whether it's some static data which is you need to extract from some sources, right? So this is what the key points you need to mark, right? So here what we have observed here is, so we need to transform this order date, right? So as well as the ship date, because it has some different date formats. Let's try to do this transformation when we extract this data, right, from S3. Fine. So this is all about the data sets. So now let's move on to the next section. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, let's create EMR cluster. So I have signed into my AWS management console, right? So let's search for EMR. You can just get into the services, right? And enter EMR, that is managed Hadoop framework. Click onto this EMR. So here to create a new cluster, so click on create cluster. So here again, like we have a different options, like you can go with the quick option, and even you can just go with the advanced options. So in advanced option, we have more features, like where we can just configure my EMI cluster. So but in this project, so we need core Hadoop as well as the Hive, right? So I'll just go with the quick options. But if you want to customize it, okay, in case like your project has some other components and you want to add that in your EMR cluster, you can just always click onto this. For example, if I click onto this advanced option, so this is what the different options we have. Like you can just even select the software configuration, whether you need Hadoop, or along with the Hadoop, if you want the TensorFlow or HBase, Zookeeper, Scoop, right? These are the necessary components which is required. So in this project, I'll just go with the quick options, right? So I need to give the cluster name. So let me create a cluster name. I'll just give ETL uh, ETL cluster. Next, this is the S3 folder, which is automatically created for you. And the launch mode, I'll go with the cluster itself. Okay, if you have some stub execution, right? So this, if you need, like if you want to add certain steps, okay, so you can just add under the step execution. But in this project, we'll go with the cluster mode because we don't have any steps to execute. In the release, I'll go with the default. If you need some other release version, you can just select it. And under the application, so I'll be selecting this core Hadoop, right, with the Hive, Hue, and Thais, right? So next, hardware configuration. So instance type, M5X large. So if you don't have free trail, if you have free trail, you can just check the which instance type you can just select. Okay. So make sure, like, because when we talk about the cost, right? So it's the cost very if you're not terminating these clusters on time, right? So after working, it will charge you like anything. Okay, so make sure like whatever the instance type you're selecting, and once you are done with the project, make sure you're closing that particular instance, right? Anyways, we have the feature which will automatically terminate your instance. Okay, if your instance is idle for a certain period of time, like 1 hour, right? So in this, we'll go with M4X large. M4X large, and number of instances I can just select 2, but when I'm going with the 3, we have 1 master and 2 core nodes. Okay, so I'll be adding 2 here. 1 master and 1 core node is enough, right? But in real production, so based on your requirement and based on the processing of the data, you need to select this. You need to decide, like, before creating this EMR cluster. So this is what the option I was talking about, auto termination. So you can just enable or disable this auto termination. So if you have already enabled it, so even you can just select the idle time. So like I have by default selected 1 hour. Okay, if you are selecting like one to like almost like within this 24 hours, in case you are not working with this EMR cluster for such long period, like whatever the period you're gonna set here, like for 1 hour, 2 hour, it will automatically terminate your instance, right? So let's keep it selected, that is enable auto termination. Then here I'll just keep it for 1 hour, 0 minutes. Next important is EC2 key pair, because this key pair is important to log in to do SSH into your EMR cluster, right? So to create a new key pair, so what you can do is I'll just show you how to create a new key pairs. I'll just open this in a new tab. If I go to my IAM, not IAM, sorry. Let's go to the EC2. In EC2, if you just scroll down, you have an option of like key pairs. Okay, just click onto this key pairs. And here, like if you want to create a new key pair, click on create a key pair, give the key pair name. You can go with .ppk file, okay, which is like if you're directly getting that in ppk file, it will be used in Putty. But yeah, so even you can just select this PM file. Then after saving this file in the PM file, then you can just convert into ppk. It's very simple, right? So what you can do is like, yeah, just select the PM or PPK, um, and you can just click on create key pair. Okay, so already I have created a key pair. So my key pair name is data pipeline ineuron. So this is my key pair which I've already created. So I haven't shown you the steps, right? So you need to get into EC2. I'll just show you once again. Very simple. So you can just get into this EC2. Once you have just clicked onto that EC2. So you need to just scroll down and search for key pairs. Click on key pairs. You want to create a new key pair, click on create key pair, give the key pair name, whatever the key pair name, and can just select .pm and click on create key pair. Fine. So this is very simple steps you need to follow. So so already I've created this key pair. So I'm just selecting this data pipeline icon, and make sure this is in your like wherever you're working. For example, what I'll do is so if I go to my downloads, so this is what the data pipeline ineuron PEM file. So I'll just copy this, and I'll just add it in the project 2. I'm just putting everything in the same folder so that it will include plain, fine. So this is a PM file. Uh, Done. So next permissions, you can just keep it default. And yeah, so this we have already configured. Very few steps you need to enter, like what is the cluster name, then the software configuration and the hardware configuration, and finally you need to select the EC2 key pair. Okay, I'll click on create cluster. Okay, so my cluster is starting. Okay, so still I have not got this master public DNS. Okay, or else like or even the user interfaces links. Basically, like to do SSH, I need a hostname, right? Anyways, it will take a few minutes to launch. So I'll be back once this setup is done. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we have created EMR cluster, right? So in this video, let's do SSH into EMR cluster. So here you can see like ETL cluster, which is running. Okay, so cluster name is wrong, that's fine. So I'm just getting into this cluster, and here I can find summary details, right? So even the configuration details. The more important part is this master public DNS, right? And here you have an option to like to connect to the master node using SSH. So if you are using Windows, this is what the steps you need to follow. Anyways, I'll be showing that. For the Mac and Linux, so you need to follow the steps and make sure you have this data pipeline ineuron in the same folder, like wherever you are accessing this PM file, right? So before this, so we need to do some we need to add my IP address to this EMR cluster, or else like if you try to connect it, right? So if you're not adding that my IP in the as in the security group, so what happens, it will not able to connect to the EMR cluster. So what we'll do is so here if you just scroll down, Here you have a security group for master. Just click onto the security group for master. So here we have like a security group ID. So for the master group, just select that. So once you select that, just scroll down and here you have an option to edit inbound rules. So here I need to add my IP. So if I just scroll down, so by default it will be added sometimes. Anyways, we'll check. So just select TCP or SSH and the port, and here you can just select my IP. Okay, and click save rules. Here you can see, so inbound security rules have successfully modified. So make sure to add this in the security group, or else if you try to create it with EMR cluster, it will not able to connect, it will give error, right? So make sure you add this step. So now I'll just get back to my EMR cluster. So now let me open even Putty also. Okay, I'll be connecting with Putty. So in case if you have not installed this Putty in your system, so it's very simple. Just search for Putty download for Windows 10 or 11. Click onto this download Putty. So here you can just click on download Putty. Okay, it's very simple step. You need to just click onto this download Putty here. So I've already downloaded. So I'll just open this Putty here. Let me open this. So when I click onto this, connect to the master node. So this is what the link even they have attached. Download the putty.exe to your computer. Okay, if you've not yet installed, then start Putty. So I've already started. Then in the category list, click the session. Okay, so this is an optional. If you want to follow it, you can just follow this. And next is in the host field, type this. Okay, so I'll just copy this. In the host name, I need to add. So I'll just open my Putty. Okay, so let me add this. Fine, and the port is 22, so keep it default. Then what you can do is just try to expand this SSH, select auth, and under the auth click on browse and navigate to your PM file, so wherever you have stored. So if you remember, I've created a folder called project 2. So right, I'll go to the downloads, project 2, and so we need to upload .ppk file. Okay, so right now it's .pm file. So what you can do is I'll just close this. Okay, even I'll just cancel this. What I'll do, I'll just open just Putty. I'll just open this Putty. Just type Putty Gen. Okay, if you have already installed this Putty, the Putty Gen will be already automatically install. It will be installed in your system. Just select this Putty Gen and click on load. Okay, not load. Yeah, click on load and navigate to your PM file. Go to the downloads, project 2. Make sure you select all files here, a .pm file. Click open and click OK. And then click on generate. Sorry, so we need to click on generate. So we need to click on the save private key. Anyways, okay. So we'll do it this once again. I'll just cancel this out. I'll So here I need to choose PPK and choose open, then key phrase, putty generator, conversion. Okay, basically I need to export. Anyways, let's follow this step. I'll just open this putty gen. That's what. So whenever you're creating this key pair, right? So make sure you save this PM. We can convert that into PPK with the help of this putty gen. Okay. So I'll click on to this. File and load. Click on load from here also, that's fine. And all files, it's .pem. I'll open, I'll click OK, and I need to click on save not save. Conversion. Okay, so export. Okay, you can click on conversion or export. Open SSH key. Fine. Conversion. Export. Open SSH key. Yes, I want to save it. So you can see. So let me give the same name. That is data pipeline inuron dot ppk and click on save. Yeah, so you can see it got saved. That is data pipeline inuron. Okay, so let me now connect it. I'll go here. So let me copy this. You need to follow the same steps. I'll go to the copy. Uh, I'll close this. Let me open this putty. Host name. I'll go to the SSH, then auth, browse, then go to the downloads. Under the downloads, I have this data pipeline inuron.ppk. I click OK and click on open. So as soon as click on open, so this is what the alert will get. Just try to click on accept. Anyways, I'm getting some issue here. Okay, let me fix this and I'll continue in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we got a few error, right? So while connecting to the EMR cluster, so I made mistake while connecting to this EMR cluster. That is while converting this .pm file to the ppk file. Okay, let me do it once again. So I'll just open this Putty gen. So click on Putty gen and click on load. Go to the PM file where you have saved and make sure to just select all files here. I'll click on this data pipeline ion.pm file. I'll click on open and okay. And next, don't go to the conversion, just click on save private key. Yes. So I need to give the name. I'll give the same name. That is data pipeline ineun dot ppk file. I click on save. Fine. So let me close this. So if I go to the folder, you can see my ppk file, right? So this is what the data pipeline I know. So now let's go and connect. So let me open this putty, copy the host name. So this is what the host name. I'll paste it over here under the host name. Go to the SSH, click on auth, browse, select the ppk file and click on open and click on open from here. So as soon as click on open, sometimes you'll get alert. Okay, just accept it. And as soon as you accept this, so this is what you will be getting. Let me expand this. Yeah. So I can do all commands like basic ls, right? So if I type who am I, you can see it's Hadoop. So I can just start Hive from here. Just type Hive here. The logging initialized by, yeah. So my Hive setup is done. So even I can just type show databases. Yeah, can see I have two databases, okay, and default. So my cluster is created and we have done the SSH into our EMR cluster. So now let's move on to the next section. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we have created EMR cluster, even we have done the SSH into our EMR cluster. So now let's proceed to the next step. Okay, so we are done with the setup, right? So the first step is the extraction, right? So we have we have data, the data is CSV file, right? I'll just show you that file. So this is what the data is, right? So we have the sales data. So we need to extract this data from S3 to my EMR cluster. Okay, this is what the extract and load I do it. And so after loading it, then we can just do the transformation, right? So the first step is like, of course, if you have not yet created a bucket in S3. So in this video, first let's create a bucket, okay, in S3. Then let's try to upload the data in S3 bucket. So this is what we're gonna do now. So this is my data, right? So sales data copy. So let me open my AWS. So let me open this in a new tab. I'll go to the S3. So let's create a bucket. So let's create a bucket here. I'll name this bucket as ETL EMR 01. Then I'll just scroll down. So let's keep it everything default. So like AWS region, it's Mumbai. Then blocking all the public access. Versioning, I've just disabled it. And let's click on create bucket. So it will take just a few seconds. You can see my bucket got created. So let me search my bucket. That is ETL EMR01. Let me open this bucket. And here, so the good approach is we can create folder and upload it, but here we are working with the single file. Let me upload this sales data into my bucket. Click on upload, add files. I'll go to the project 2, and this is my sales data copy, right? Let me copy this, and even you can see the size, the type is CSV, and just scroll down and click on upload. So my upload is succeeded. I click on close. And if I go to the bucket once again to verify it, so whether my data is uploaded bucket or not, I'll just scroll down to ETL EMR01. So this is my bucket. And I have this sales data copy dot CSV, right? So the data, uploading the data in S3 bucket is done. Okay, so now let's move on to the next video. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in our previous step, okay, so we have uploaded data in S3. So in this video, so what we'll do is we'll just get that data from S3 to my EMR cluster. That is basically in Hive. We'll create an external table. So with help of external table, I can just point the data to the S3, right? I can just access that particular data. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So once we are done with this, then we can just proceed with conversion, right? So this is basically the conversion sense we can just do some transformation. So in the data set, I have already shown you that there is different date formats, right? So what we can do is we can just connect that, okay? We can just connect that with the S3, and we can just get that data to the Hive, okay, with help of external table. Okay, let's try to do that. So what we'll do is, so I have already shared scripts with you. I'll just show you that. So if I just try to open here, so here I have three scripts. Okay, so one is to create a external sales table. Okay, let me open this. So I'll just open this in a notepad. So this is what the table is. So we are creating external table with help of external table command. So create external table if not exist, and my table name is sales table. So if you have seen the data set, so this is my data set, right? So I'll just keep it here so that we can compare this with the data. So first we are creating a region. So sorry, first we are creating a column name, and we know how to create a table, right? So the column name and the data type. So first we have a region, so it's of string data type. Then we have a country of string data type. Then we have an int type, which is also a string. Then we have a sales channel. So inside the sales channel, so we are adding a string. Then we have order priority is also string, because we have MC and H. Then we have order date, we are taking that as a string. Order ID is also string. Ship date a string. Unit sold string. Unit price, cost price, and everything we have taken as string, right? and row format delimited by comma and the location of S3. And here I have to give the bucket name. So if I want to check my bucket name, so it's ETL EMR 01. So let me give the bucket name here itself. Okay. So my bucket name is ETL EMR 01. So make sure you just give the proper name. So let's go and create this table in Hive, right? So I've just signed into my, done the SSH into my EMR cluster, right? So let me click on Hive here. Yeah. So if I type here show data basis, so I have this OK and default, right? So let me copy this and paste it. So this script, fine. So let me copy this. Make sure you add this this location properly, fine. So let me paste it and let me check once again. So create a external table if not exist. Sales table. Region is string. Country is also string. Item type is string. Sales channel. Okay, then we have order priorities. Everything we have seen, right? So everything is an order type is string. Fine. So let me enter. Yeah. So let me type show tables. So here you can see we have this sales table. We can do select star from sales table, sales table. Let's limit 10. Yeah, you can see. So data is loaded. So we have all the columns present. So successfully we have created external table. So the next is we need to do the transformation, right? So so what is the transformation? So when I see this data set, so when we discussed about the data set, so I told you that we have a different data formats, right? So even in the order date as well as ship date. Okay, so let's try to modify that. Okay, so this is what the transformation we have done. Okay, so basically this type of transformation you can do it. Okay, so based on your requirements. Okay, so see in our project the requirement was we don't have any garbage value when we don't have any null values in the data set, but in real time of course there could be some null values, there could be some what some special characters in some data column, right? So these are some real-time scenarios. Even like in our use case, like here we have the date, order date and the ship date in different data formats. So we are just transforming that particular data. So transformation could be anything and completely depends on the data. Completely depends on the use case. Okay. So even in the work in the companies, like if you're working and if manager asks you to extract, so do some ETL process and to build some data pipeline, right? If you're extracting, okay. So the first step we understood that we need to check from where we are getting the data and what is the a source of the data and the type of the data, right? So whether you type in the sense like what type of data you're getting it, right? So whether it's JSON or whether you're getting some any type of ORC or Parquet or could be any format of data, right? So once you know the scheme of the particular data, okay, and if you know the actual data and you will get to know okay what kind of transformation you want to do it, okay, so to make sure that the team which is looking for your data, right? So maybe the business analyst, okay, so who are eagerly waiting for your data, okay, so that they can build a dashboards whatever the data they are given. So it completely depends on the business use case as well, right? So in our case, in our project, so we had an issue with the order date as well as ship date. Okay, let's try to modify this. Okay, so let's do the transformation so that we can just convert into some format with help of the queries, right? So I have already shared the one more code with you, that is insert statement for the final table. So let me open this table. So when you try to open this particular table, so here we have few commands, okay, which we are basically need to execute, like we'll be doing a partition. Okay, so let's do the partition based on the order ID. So if you want to do a partition based on the region as well, that's also correct. Okay, you can just do some trail error and you can just check like how the data is being stored and how the processing time of the query, right? So you can just check all these factors. So in this, like, we'll try to partition based on the order ID. So this is what some of the parameters you need to set in. Okay, like dynamic partition unit is we are setting that to true, and we have partition mode setting selecting to the not strict, right? So these are some of the parameters we need to execute before running this particular script. So here, what we are doing is, so basically, so right now my data, we have created external data, right? So this is my source. So what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a new table called a final sales table, which will be our clean data, right? So whatever the external table is pointing to my S3, so I'll be getting that data and will be putting that into where I'll be putting that into a sales table. Okay, so I'll be creating one more table called sales table, that is a final sales table. It will be my clean data. So I'm just extracting the data from S3, right? Which is basically, we have even created a pointer that is using external table. We have created the pointer to the S3, right? So I'll be getting the data and will be dumping into where? Into a final table. So before dumping it to it, I need to do some transformation. That's what the ETL stands for, right? So the transformation here I'm doing, so on the two columns. Okay, so majorly that is order date and ship date, because the date types are not matching it, right? So I want to do that transformation. So here what I'm doing, I'm just casting here. So casting is basically changing data type. So if you want to convert from some data type to data type, you can just convert it to make sure that our final table looks clean. Okay, so whatever the data type we are coming across, okay, so whatever it could be any data type, okay, from my input. Okay, so I'm just making sure that my output should be of this data type. Okay, whether it's string or it could be of date type, it could be of any data type. So what I'm doing, so first I'll be creating, before running the script, I'll be creating a table called final sales table, right? So this is what I'm just inserting override table into final sales table, and I'm just doing the partition based on what? Order ID, fine. So you can just type with some other column as well. So here I'm just casting it from region as string, countries also as a string, then item type as a string, then sales channel as also string, then order priority as string, right? Then I'm using a coalesce. Okay, so coalesce function is basically returns the value of the first field of once listed in the coalesce function, right? That is not null. So if all the fields are null, it will return null. This is how the coalesce function works. So here I'm just converting from Unix time, that is Unix timestamp of order date. This is what the actual date. I'm converting this into standard format, that is YYYMMDD format, that is year, then month, then date. Okay, so I'm just converting that. So here I'm just doing the casting of same thing, that is from Unix timestamp, that's order date, to this format. Fine. So just I'm adding that into coalesce function. Fine. So next we have same thing for the order. Then for the order year, sorry, for the ship date as well, right? So I'm just adding that with the coalesce function. That's what I've just performed this. Okay, so you can see. So I'm just converting. I'm just doing the casting. Then I'm just converting that from Unix time to the Unix times timestamp, and this is what the format I've given. That is, so wherever there is, see, even we have this YYY. Yeah. So we have this what? This type either could be MMDYY. I want this to convert into this, or DDMM. I want to convert this into this. Fine. So this is what I'm just looking. I'm just casting the other columns like unit, because everything we have everything when we pointed to Excel table, we pointed that as everything as string, right? If you observe, right? So what we have done, so now we are just casting it into as int, like unit sold as int, unit price also float, unit cost as a float, total revenue as float, and total cost as a float, and total profit as a float, and even the order ID as int. So from the sales table, right? So this is what my table, like, which we have just created, sales table. So this is will be my transformation script. So what I'll do, I'll just close this. So let me before running that particular script, of course we want to create a final table. So let me open this particular table here. So I'll just show you the script here. So this is my table, that is a final table, and everything you can see, it's we have just given a string, then we have just added the in float, and this is what my um, table query here, right? So even observe this, we are just storing this as a ORC format. So ORC, basically we're storing some of the compression format, so that we can just compress as much as the data, right? So this is what the ORC format. Let me copy this, and I'll just go to my EMR cluster. So right now I'm inside this Hive. Let me run this once again. So I'm creating one more table called final table, final sales table. So let me execute this, and it got created. So if I just check show tables over here, so we have two tables. One is a sales table, which is the external table pointing to the S3, and we have created one more table called files final sales table, so which will be our final table, which will be connecting with the our visualization tool, right? So now in the sales table, so now before so this is my ETL process, right? So I'm just getting the data from sales table. I'm dumping into the final table. So before dumping, I'm doing some transformation. So I've already shown you the transformation step, right? So now let's try to run that particular file. So what I'll do, let me open this in insert statement for final table. Let me open this in a notepad. So before executing it, so let me run this all this insert statements for the final table. So let me run it over here. Fine. So let me copy this. See, we have Control V. And here I'll just add limit 10 or 30. Fine. So let me do enter. So it will start the job, right? So you can see total job is one, and the launching job 1 out of 1. So it's starting the map reduce a job here. That's what we have created, one master and one slave, right? So depending upon the use case, we can just add the number of slaves we need. So you can see loading data to the table, and it got executed. And even you can just take see the time. Okay, time taken to load the dynamic partition is 1.978 seconds, as time taken for adding to a right entity is 0.097. So we have added the data. So now let's try to visualize the data in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we have executed the ETL process, right? So even you can just visualize that with help of Taze, right? So if you click on to here, Taze UI, so this is what all the tags you can see with the tag name, like what are the different mapper and reduce you got executed, the total number of tasks, and even if failed task or kill task. So with help of UIs, right? So you can just check the graphical view, right? And all the tasks which got executed. And here you can even view and even download that, right? So let me go and see the data here. So if I click on here, show tables once again. So I have this final sales table. So let me do select star from select star from sales table. Sorry, final sales table. And let's do limit 10. Yeah. So this is what the data. So here have just enlarged this so that you can just view it properly. Can here you can see like we have changed the format to YY, then month as well as the date. So even you can just see the partition as well, like show partitions, that is final sales table. Yeah. So here you can see all the partitions on which like we have partition based on the order ID, right? So you can see. So this way you can just do the partition based on some different column and do some processing even on that, right? So this is what the desired output I was looking for. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in our previous steps, okay, so what we have done, so basically this is was our ETL workflow, right? So we had this sales data. So then we have created a bucket in S3, right? So then we have uploaded sales data into S3 bucket. Then we have created EMR cluster, and from EMR cluster we created first external table So that will create an external table so that we can access this sales data from S3. Then I created one more final table, and before loading the data into final tables, we did some transformation on order date as well as the um sales date, right? So this is what we have done, and we have completed all the processing up to this particular step, right? And the next step is the visualization, right? So once we have data, right, and I want to send that to some team, or like if you have, like if you're working and it comes under your job role, right? And if you want to connect that some with the some BI tool, so this is how we can just do it. I'll just show you in some time. So in our project, we'll be using a Tableau, right? So we'll be using a Tableau desktop. It comes with 14 days free trial, and it's enough for you to practice, right? And we have a final table in the Hive, and let's connect that table with the Tableau, and let's try to do some visualization on that data. Fine. So this is what the agenda of this video. So first, before starting, so we need to have Tableau installed in our system. So you can just type a Tableau a desktop 14 days free trial, and this is what you can just click on about link, and this is what the page. You need to enter your first name, last name, email address, organization, company name, and click on this download free trial. Fine. And if you've already downloaded, and it's like if you have already used that particular version, so so it comes with 14 days free trial. So each version comes with 14 days free trial. So what you can do is you can just install some other version. So that's what I'm doing. So I have already installed some versions like 22.3. I have just used that particular version. I can't use the same version, right? Because it comes with only 14 days free trial. So what I'll do, I'll just use some other version like 20, uh, uh, 2021 4.13. I'll just open that and click on to this download Tableau desktop. Fine. So here I need to select whether it's for the Windows or Mac. I'll click on Windows, and my download started. So even we have a Tableau public, but Tableau public will not support this Hive or any other connections, because it here there in the Tableau public we can just connect with only few connectors like the files, not Google Sheet, yeah, Google Sheets, maybe, right? So there are only few connectors, right? When you use this Tableau public, which comes free, which is open source, and you can just install, and we don't have any license for this Tableau public. But whenever you are installing this tablet desktop, it comes with 14 days free trial. So my download is complete. So what I'll do, let me run this. Yeah. So let me run this. I need to accept this terms and condition. Click on install. You can just fast forward the video. I think my installation is complete almost. Even I'll just show you the Tableau public also. I'll just open this Tableau. You can see it automatically open. So even I have Tableau public. Let me open the Tableau public also. Fine. So is the Tableau public? You can see the connectors. I have only few connectors. Like I can connect with the Google Drive, OData, and even the web data connector. So this is what the file I can. It's supposed to be the public. Right? So my Tableau desktop is ready, right? So let me fill this form quickly. and click on start trial now. So job role again, let's select analyst. Yeah, so my 14 days free trial has started. So here I can connect with many connectors if I click on more. So here you can see I can find almost 77 connectors. I can connect with Amazon Athena, Databricks, right? So MapR, Hadoop Hive. So we are looking for EMR. So even you can just search here. Amazon, yeah, here we have Amazon EMR, Hadoop Hive, right? So we have many connectors, almost 77. So let's try to connect my EMR cluster, that is the Hive with the Tableau in the next video. So now let's try to connect. So I'm in the just select more, and here you have Amazon EMR Hadoop Hive. Just select it. So here before connecting, we need to have the driver, right? So we need to download the driver first. Then we can just use this connector. Just click on this download driver. So it will automatically redirect you to the page. Okay, so where you can just download the drivers. So here just scroll down and uninstall. Okay, so let me open this particular page and click on to this link to see all the drivers and select this Hive ODBC. So it's downloading it. So we need to have these drivers. Okay, so then only we can just connect with the Hive. Okay, so let me see in the download section. Yeah, so let me unzip this. I'll add this, even this driver in the resource section. You can just access this also. So let me, this is for 32-bit, this is for 64-bit. Let me execute this. Amazon Hive ODBC 64-bit. Click on next. Accept the license. Click on next. Next and install. So once the installation is done, so now let me try once again. So let's go to my Tableau and let me click on this Amazon EMR Hadoop once again. So it will show you unless let me restart this. Okay, so because so once you have installed the driver, make sure you just close the tablet and restart it. So I'll just do it and let me start with it in the next video. Okay, fine. So I've just restarted my Tableau. So here, let me click on more once again and click on this Amazon EMR Hadoop Hive. So I need to enter the server name. So this is my server name. So let me copy this and paste it over here. And port I'll add, you need to add the port 10,000, fine. And authentication, click on username and give the username as Hive and require SSL and click on sign in. You can see it's connecting to the database and connection is successful. So let's click on schema and so let me do the refresh. We have given final. It will show the schema here. Okay, let me open this connection. So my table name is Final table, right? Okay, my connection is successful. Let's see like where my data is stored. Then I'll just connect with my schema, and let's try to load the data into the Tableau. So we have seen the connection, right? So just need to click on the host link, right? So host as well as the authentication level, and check SSL. Okay, so we need to enter schema default. Okay, the schema is default, and the table name which we created was final sales, right? You just select the default, which I've just selected, and the table name is this. And here you can see I can find this final sales table, right? So I can just drag this and add it into this canvas. Okay, so here you can see, so final sales table is present, and from here you can just preview the data as well. And if I go to the sheets, so I can access all this country and all the tables, right? So we have the measures as well as the dimensions in the Tableau. Fine. So we have successfully connected the data, right? And the connection is live, you can see. And even you can just extract also. So we have done the setup, right? So we have done the connection with the Power BI as well as Hive. So in the next video, let's do the visualization and build the dashboard. Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we have loaded the data into Tableau, right? So we in the data source, we have used this final table, right? So this was our final table after the transformation, okay? So which we have added in the Hive table, right? So we have just dragged it and dropped it in the canvas, and where I can just check all the details regarding fields as well as the data as well, right? So let's start visualizing some data, right? So let's first compare so here you can see like we have a tables, right? So these are the different tables, and in Tableau usually we have the concept of measures as well as uh, the basically all this character the text related, right? The text related fields will be here, right? And we have what measures here, right? And so here for example like order ID, so you can so you can quickly see the data type as well, right? Measures and dimensions, yeah, so this is all dimensions on the top what you're seeing. So all the dimensions will include the date, any relate the columns related to the like region, like state, right? So all the details will be under this dimension, right? So here you can see, so this belongs to a map data type, and this is what the country. Then we have item of ABC. So wherever you're saying ABC, it's basically of a string column, right? And we have order, priority, order here. And if you want to change that to some other data type, so here you can just go and select that to a date or any other column if it is required for the visualization. Fine. So next we have a region is set to ABC. So even the region is also a some geographic role, right? So if you want to set that to with some other geographic role, you can just go, select that and drag that and select. Okay. So based on so automatically it will detect some of the data types. In case, okay, if data type is not correct, so for the visualization, if you want that specific column to be some other data type, you can just select it from this particular section, right? And so below whatever you're seeing here, right, after this thin line, it's basically a dimensions. Dimensions will contain all these numeric values like cost, a total cost, right? So total profit, total revenue, unit cost, unit price, and the unit sold. And these are automatically generated like latitude and longitude. Okay, so so now let's try to visualize some of the data here. And so here we have a concept of like rows and columns, right? So I can even see all the different types of charts over here, right? So first let's try to visualize units sold versus unit cost like for the particular region. Okay, so let me try to visualize that. That is units sold versus a unit cost per region, right? So let me make it, if you want to make it bold, you can do it, right? So if you want to change to some other format also, you can just do it like coloring, If you want to add some colors is also okay. So let me click apply and okay, fine. So so under this, so let's create a dual chart. So what we'll do is first let's try to drag the region. Okay, so first let's drag the region in the inside these columns. We have the different regions starting with Asia. We have Australia, then we have Central America, right? So we have a different regions here. Under the specific region, I want to see what units sold as well as the unit cost. First, let me drag this unit sold, the number of units sold under this row section. And here we have one null value. Let's try to filter that out. I don't want that. Fine. And so next, so even you can do Control Z specifically if you have made some mistakes, right? So Control Z, or let's remove this. So I'm just filtering this data. Fine. So here next, I'm selecting the unit cost, right? So unit cost. And I told you like I'll be making a dual axis, right? So let me select this and let me make it dual axis. Fine. So right now under the mark section, so we have a different marks, okay, for the unit sold as well as for the unit cost, right? So for the unit sold, let's make a bar chart. So here it's selected automatic, right? So automatic means this is selected the automatic as circle. So let me make it this as a bar chart for the unit sold. And for the unit cost, okay, so let me make this as a line. Okay, it will be a good visualization, right? And apart from this, okay, so if I want to change to some other format, right? So if you want to edit this particular axis, or if you want to um, modify some of the details, right? So you can just modify this, okay, in the edit axis settings, as well as here you have like mark type, right? Even we have a formation of like format. So here under the number, okay, if you want to customize to currency in some other format also, you can just do it, right? So right now you can see it has been modified, right? So this way you can just modify this particular axis and here also. Fine. So this is the unit cost versus unit sold versus unit cost. And here you can just see observe here like and if you want to add some of the details here, right? For example, I'll just get back to my here and let's add the unit sold is bar, right? Let's add the unit cost. Unit cost under the label also. Okay, so this way you can just see. Okay, so you can just compare like the number of units sold and what is the cost of that particular unit in a specific region. Okay, so this is what one of the chart we can build it. So now let's move on to the next chart. Let's try to build some of the more such charts in the next video. Okay, fine. So in the previous video, we have built one chart, right? So apart from this, okay, so if I want to filter it, okay, so here in the filters, I have the units sold. Uh, okay, so if you want to filter, okay, so based on region or based on the country, even you can just do that. In just you need to drag and drop inside the filters, okay. So initially, I'll just select all, then I can just do this customization. Okay, let me add the country first. So all the filters will be seen here if I just select this particular option, that is show filter. Okay, and here let me customize this. I don't want this multiple values. I'll be using this single value drop down so that I can just select it easily whenever it's required, right? Right now let's set to all. So even I can add the region as well. So let's drag and drop this region into filters, right? uh, Apply all and okay. And let me remove this region not required. And here also I can just add it show filters, right? Even let's make this as a single value drop down, right? So now let's set to all. Fine. So these are the different options which is available, right? So even you can just add the filters and whatever the customization required. So what is the so see, it's not only for this data set you need to follow. You can just visualize it like whatever the requirement for your company, right? So in real time, So whenever the manager is asking for you some details, right? So you need to visualize that. Okay, so based on the different charts available in not only in Tableau, whether you're working in some other tool like Power BI, okay, or in the AWS we have like QuickSight, right? So based on your requirements, what type of chart suits for your business problem, you need to select that particular chart. Okay, so this just a idea you'll get in like how to plot its graphs and how to build the dashboards, right? So now let's move on to the next visual. So here let's try to see the total revenue and the cost per country. Okay, so let me do analysis based on that. That is uh, total revenue and cost per country. Right. So let me make this bold and select orange, apply, and okay. Right. So first let me drag this country. So where is my country? I'll just drag and drop in the columns. And we have a total revenue under the measure. Let me drag and drop into rows. So as soon as I select, so I'll be getting some, so you can see like few charts are disabled, right? And you will get an idea. For example, if I hover onto some specific chart, so basically it's asking for one measure, right? So if I hover into some, for example, area chart. So for the area chart, I need one date and one measure. So if I hover to some tree map, right, I want one dimension and two measures. So basically, you'll get an idea. Okay. So if you're new to visualization and if you want to know what this chart, like if you want to plot that specific chart, what are the different types of measures and dimensions I'll be required. So as soon as I just drag some of the data in the rows and columns, so there are some chart disabled. It means that we can't plot that particular chart with help of the data which I've just used in rows and columns, right? So there are few charts which has been enabled, right? I can plot a map, right? It's recommended. So here I can plot the pie chart. As soon as I click on pie, you can see it will change to pie. So pie is not it's not showing any good visualization here, right? So I can use the bar chart, right? So basically in the bar chart, I can see the different countries here, and based on that, I can see the revenue, and quickly I can make the decision. So which country has the highest revenue, right? So as soon as I see here, so it's Armenia. So here, like even I have the stacked, so even it's not good. So tree map, right? So as soon as the based on the size of these rectangles, I can just decide, okay, which country has the highest total highest revenue, right? So that this is what I can just check it from this section also. And so if I want to see here, like here, like if it is very difficult to, so for example, all the rectangles look similar. So now I can just can't make this decision like by seeing this visual, right? So again, like apart from this, even we have what bubbles also, right? So even bubbles, in case like if you're selecting this tree chart and adding this what total revenue label, yeah, so here you can see so based on this, and okay, if I plot this bar chart, if I just close this, and the revenue thing was Armenia. Add this and this over here, same thing, fine. But when I switch to this, I'm getting total revenue label. Okay, I have highest revenue for this. Okay, so if I change to this chart, so if I can just arrange this, for example, here based on uh, so we have discrete, no, not this. Here I can do quick sorting. Yeah, yeah. So when I do the sorting, you can see like when I was not doing square what sorting here. So there was because I have more data here, right? So I can't visualize this entire chart this way. So I can just do the sorting here. So based on sorting, I can just see the Switzerland has the highest revenue, and even you can just add this total revenue in the label also. Okay, so this way you can just customize this, and even you can just add the whatever the customization required, you can just make this. Okay, so I think that this chart looks better, right? Comparative, like the other charts. So bubbles also is not giving that information. So let's keep this chart, right? So this is looking good. That is a bar chart, right? So let me arrange this. Fine. Okay, so let's keep it and let's add this total revenue in the label. And apart from this, if you want to change the color of this visual, right? So we can just even do that. Let's okay, and even like apart from this, so even like if you don't need some specific data, okay, so if you are just yeah, so filtering, right? So based on the revenue also can just filter it, and based on the country or based on what a region also can just filter it. So filter I've already showed you, right? So if I just drag and drop this total revenue in under the filters, so I can select, okay, so based on what I can just filter this. So if I just drag and drop this revenue here, let's see. Yeah. So here I can just set the range of values from where to where so that I can just filter this out, right? So let me cancel this. I'm just showing the different options which is available, right? So I'll just cancel this out, not required. So or else you can just select it. For example, if you're just looking for the top 10, that also you can just do it. And even you can just select this and do exclude or include. So I can just exclude the data, right? So or include only this or exclude the other data. Even I can do that. If I just drag and drop this country, into filters, so based on the condition or top, right? So based on top 10 I can just do it, right? So if I click on apply and okay, see, yeah, so you can see the top 10 countries here, right? So this way if you want to make it top 15, click on apply. Yeah, so let's keep it 15. So these are the top 15 countries, okay, so which has the highest revenue, right? So yeah, so let's move on to the next question. Hello everyone, welcome back. Right, so in the previous video we have built two charts, right? So one is bar chart as well as we have seen the dual axis chart. So let's try to add one more chart. Okay, so like map, let's create a map. So what we'll do is so let me okay, let me see the units sold by each country. Okay, so let's create a map that is units sold by each country. So if we give this type of heading, so whenever you're creating a story in Tableau, it will be helpful, right? So that is units sold by country. Fine. So let me make it a bold and change it to, let's give it orange, apply and okay. Fine. So first let's drag and drop this country into the columns, and let me drag this unit sold. Let me drag into rows first. Okay, so we are getting some default chart. So let me make change that to a map, right? So we have two types of map. One is like you can see, so it's like so I won't need to hover on to this particular dots. It's basically telling the unit sold in the specific region, or else I can just go to the field maps. So where so based on the so if I just close this, based on the color, I can just decide. Okay, so the darker has the highest unit sold, right? So instead of this, what we'll do is, so let's add this unit sold in the label and add the revenue in the color. Fine. Yeah, so this way you can what select it, and whenever you're getting some unknown errors, right, you can just go and edit those. For example, the country column is already selected showing unrecognized, or else what you can do, just filter this out. I'll just filter the data. Okay, so here so we have this, and apart from this, even you can just add the filters. Let's add the filters for the country. If I want to see so based on the specific countries, right? So apply and okay. So let me show this filter. So and let me make this a slider. You can slider is not a proper option for this. So let me do it for uh, a drop down. Yeah. So right now it's Afghanistan. So I can see the units sold here, right? So if I want to make it all, I can do this way. If I want to specifically see for India, right? Search for India, and this is for the India, right? And let's make it all. Fine. So this way you can just create what? Different map charts. Okay, so these are the different charts which you have built, right? So this chart as well as this chart. Uh, so let me create one more chart. So here let's try to do some of the calculations. Okay, I'll just show you how to do the some calculations, or you can say a table. Okay, so here let's drag this regions, where's region in the columns. Let's even add this item type. Yeah. So wherever, okay, if you are getting like this, fine. So this will be what, right? So we have a region and we have different items. Okay, with the different item types. Okay, so if I want to see, what we'll do is, so let me add units sold, right? Unit price, even let add total revenue. Okay. Uh, yeah, fine. So even you can just add it. Okay, so if I want to add total profit also, like let me drag and drop it here. Okay, so this way you can just create a tables, and with respect to the item type, where we have item type, I'm just looking where we can add the item type. Yeah, so this will look fine. Okay, so you can see, so we have different regions, and based on the item type, I can see the unit sold, unit price, unit sold, total revenue, as well as the total profit. And if you want to calculate some calculated fields, right? So like here we have a concept of calculated field. Can just go to the what analysis. Here we have like calculated field. So here you can even find like total final cost. Okay, so this total final cost will be like unit sold, right? Unit sold times unit cost, right? If I click apply and okay, so here you can see, so we have a total final cost. So even I can just drag and drop it here. So it's processing. Yeah. So here we have a calculated field, right? So I just want to show you how we can create tables as well as calculated field. So now you're aware of like how to create a table as well as how to create calculated fields, right? So now let's move on to the next chart. Okay, let's build one more chart. Okay, so this time let's compare with revenue versus profit by region. Okay. Fine. So here first let add me this order date. So let's work with order date. I'll add it order date. Then we have a total profit. Okay, so even let's take the total revenue. And for the order date, so let's make this as okay, so let me change this later. So let's make this as dual axis. And for the revenue, I'll make it as line chart. And for this, let's make it bar chart. So we have seen the dual axis charts, right? So let's make it bar. And for this, even you can make the lollipop chart and other charts as well, right? Date. Okay, so let me change this to a date type, because right now it's an ABC, right? For that reason showing it. Because I want to convert that into a quarter. Okay, so instead of seeing all this date individually. Fine. So if I just see this, so now have a option with this. You can see, so the automatically when the Tableau checked, right, it automatically detected as ABC, right? But while working with charts, if this in some other format, you can change. Now just change the order date to date format. So let me make this as a quarter. Okay. Right now you can see I've set to quarter. Fine. And fine. So if you want to, right now it's in million, right? So if you want to customize, I've already showed you, right? So I'll just keep it default. If you go to the format and here you can just change to numbers, right? To some other currency format, right? So here, currency custom. So here you can just change all the prefix and everything. Fine. So let me not touch that formatting. So formatting, you can just do it easily. Fine. And apart from this, if you want to add the filter, okay, let's add the filter for the sales channel, whether it's to check whether the offline and online. So let me drag and drop that. Select all and click on apply and okay. And let me add this in a show filter. So instead of this, so let me drop down also, it's fine. Yeah. So whether I can just select what online or offline, right? And so based on that, my chart will change. Fine. So this is the filter I've added, and even you can just add the region as well. And in case like if you want to increase the size of like line or anything, you can just increase that. And for more details, like even if you want to see that in labels, okay, so even I can just do that, right? So these are the different options which is available. Okay, rather than, and like there could be a scenarios. Okay, so whenever if you want to compare the same columns and it's not in sync, okay, you can just even the synchronize that particular access as well. Right? So these are the different charts which we have built. Okay, so let's create a dashboard. Okay, so based on the chart whatever we have created. Okay, so let's do that in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome back. So we have built some of the charts. So now let's try to create a dashboard, right? So now let's try to create dashboard. So these are the different charts I've built, right? So from sheet 1, sheet 2, then we have sheet 3. You can just rename the sheets also, fine. And let's delete the sheet 5. I don't have sheet 6. And here we have an option like, so this is for the new worksheet. And here we have an option for to create a new dashboard. Okay, so once I select the dashboard, so first I need to select the size. So here I can just select it. So right now it's set to fixed size. If you want to set to automatic. So because the size matters, right? So whenever creating a dashboard, whether you need like a smaller size or so even you can just customize those things. Okay, setting to automatic, or if you want to set to range, you can just do that. Let's make it automatic, and even you just customize it. Okay, so even if you just set to some other like fixed, and here you can just select whatever whether the letter or A3 or A4 or based on that. So okay, so let me make it automatic. So once I selected, so here we have not given the sheet's name, but it's good practice to give the sheet name so that whenever I'm working with the dashboard, I'm able to recognize what type of charts is there in in this each sheet, right? So right now not given the name, but you can just rename this, and so that when I'm just dragging this particular charts into my dashboard, I can easily select like based on my requirement, right? Okay, so my all the charts are ready. Okay, so now let's drag and drop. So once I just select one of the chart, okay, so I can just drag and drop it here. Okay, so as soon as drag and drop any one chart, so it will take the entire space. Okay, so let me drag and drop all these 5 charts, and I'll just tell you. Let's drag and drop other chart. So here I'm just giving an option, so whether I want to add it here or half. So basically now, so whatever the size we have added, taking the exact half of that. Okay, so let me add it here. Fine. So now let me add, so you can see some small text, right? So basically those charts are already added in what? In the dashboard. Let me take a one more chart. I'll just, now it's again asking whether I need to add it here or in this part. So let me, so now it's a part of it that is 25%. So now I'm adding a map over here. Fine. And one thing we can observe is whatever the charts we're adding here, right? So all the filters also you can just see here, fine. And the next chart, so let me add the table. Let me add the table over here at the bottom. Fine. So this is what the table is. And we have one more chart. And this chart, let add it in this part. Fine. So here you can even change it. Fine. So here let me make it this way. Filter data. Okay, we don't have any pie charts, but yeah, you can do the pie charts as well. So I've just given you the idea like how to drag and drop and how to create the new charts, right? Fine. So here, go dashboard title. So let me add the title as well so that it will look good. Sales dashboard. I'll make this as bold and let me give the orange itself. And if you want to increase the size of the text, let's make it center aligned. Fine. So here you can see I can just directly get into this presentation mode, right? So this is my presentation mode. And right now it's not interactive. If I just click it, right now it's not interactive, right? So let's make it this as interactive. For example, so here if I just go here, and here we have an option like different option, like if you want to add the filters, like what the caption. Okay, so even you can just check or uncheck. Okay, so if you want to remove the title also, you can just remove it to save some space. Assume like I don't want the title for this, right? So what I'll do, I'll just go here and let's select this, and here let uncheck this type title. I don't want the title. So these are the different option customization, you can just do it. And apart from this, so if I go and check like filters, okay, so all the filters are you can see here. So but for some case, okay, if you have just removed the filters, you can just do that. For example, here we have an option of floating also. If I just try to see here, go to the filter. Hmm, let me select this chart. So use filter. Okay, it's processing. Okay, so here, so when I go and check this filters, so here I'm just filtering like based on what a country. So here we have a sum of cost and sum of totals. If you want to disable auto update also, you can just do that. Right now I'm set to use filters. If I just uncheck it, okay, so the filters will be removed. Okay, so this is what. Yeah, you can see filters will be removed. And here the region part, this is also very much important. So if I just try to select it, okay, in some specific filters, we have an option to apply to worksheet, right? So right now it is selected to only some specific worksheet. So wherever I've just selected this region as a filter, it is basically applied that particular filter to the some specific sheet, right? So if I want to apply to the selected sheet, I can do it. So all using the data source. So wherever the data source is using, so apply that particular filter to all that. Okay, just select this. Okay, so that whenever if I'm clicking to some other region, okay, so right now I need to make it for all. Okay, so let me change this for all this. Okay, uh, revenue, not here. So where is that option? With title, caption, legend, filters, highlighters, ignore actions. That's fine. Apply to worksheet, all using this. It's only for filters, right? Apply to worksheet. It was already updated, sorry. If I just make it offline, Yeah, you can see all the charts are changing. And if I make it online, it's processing, it's taking time. Okay. So what for the first time it will take yeah. So now some of the charging, right? If you make it all, yeah. So all the charts are changing, right? So this is how we build the dashboard, right? And if you want to add some blank thing, okay, you can just drag and drop like some blank section. And apart from this, we have called stories, right? So I can create a stories. For example, I can add a caption here. This is what the entire okay, sales dashboard. Fine. BOARD sales dashboard. And in the sales dashboard, I'll add the entire dashboard here. Okay, so let me create story 2. I can just drag and drop this, and I can just name it. Okay, so whatever the sheet ones, what was this? So this is unit. So while explaining, okay, so whenever you're giving presentations, these stories are very helpful, right? So I'll just right. So this way you can just build a multiple stories as well, right? Yeah. So inside each stories, you can, that's what. So I just created a multiple story to show that we can create multiple stories inside each story. So for example, first it's sales dashboard, and next let me add this sheet 1, and let me add one more blank. Let me add the sheet 2. Let me add one more blank and sheet 3. For example, here, let me duplicate one more. Okay. So now what you can do, so whenever you're presenting, okay, you can just see, show the managers that this is what the entire dashboard is. And here you also have filters. You can just remove these filters, and under this you can add the caption. Okay, so whenever you're giving the presentation, you can add the captions here. And for example, your this is for the entire region. If you specifically are looking for some specific country, so in this you can just modify it. Okay, so rather than, for example, I'm looking for uh, um, okay, let add the India itself. Okay, so let me add it India here. So this is specifically showing for India. So in this story, so telling for the entire region, right? So about the revenue cost or something, whatever you have added, right? So based on the revenue, or telling, okay, this is what the revenue for the different regions. But while presenting, if you want to specifically talk about some specific region, you can just get into this caption. Like, so here you can just name it. Okay, so this is for the entire region here. Okay, uh, entire region, and here you can just add it's for India, your revenue. So this is these stories are very helpful whenever you're giving the presentations, right? So you can just present it this way, and right now in story 1, and you can just move it so this way, right? So this is all about creating visualizations. Okay, so not only Tableau. So I'm just giving a overview, like whenever you are connecting any BI tool with the Hive or any other data warehouses. This is how you created, and so based on your requirement, you need to be more creative. Okay, so while presenting, right, and it should show the clear understanding. Okay, what actually, so now the data is conveying some information. Okay, so we had the data in S3, we had we pulled that data into Hive, right? We have done some processing on the data, like based on order date, right? So then we have changed the data type in Tableau as well to the date. Then we have seen like how the what so based on so based on like if I want to see it in quarter or monthly, I can do that. Even I can just see the total profit as well, revenue based on certain dates. Okay, so even I can just do, you can see like specifically in which quarter I can see the highest sales, right? And the revenue is also highest, right? So total profit as well, total revenue is also highest. So this way you can just give a glimpse of a glimpse of the information, right? So what the actual the data is coming the information. Okay, so this are the real-time scenarios even in the companies. Okay, so whenever you are working in some job role, like whether it's a data analyst or any other role, right? So if I want to perform some of the ETL data pipeline, and you want to visualize visualize the data and present it to manage this, how you do it. And anyways, you can see, so in the data source right now I'm working with a different single data source here, right? So this way, if you have the more tables, okay, so if you have multiple tables and you need to perform some of the joins on art, right? So we have So if I specifically talk about Tableau, under that we have different types of joins, and we can just perform some other analysis on that. And if I talk about the Power BI, okay, so there you can create multiple DAX expressions, right? You can just customize more, right, comparatively, like some other tools, some other BI tools. So there are many BI tools available in market. So based on the requirement and based on what the company is using, okay, so we need to build the dashboards and reports for uh, the team, right? So this is all about Tableau, right? So about the visualization.